as that sign says, here we go. We are off and running here at FETC in New Orleans. It is an amazing day. Already checked in. I got my badge somewhere. I should probably have it on because already I would say 12 people have stopped by and asked me if I know where the registration is. Am I the help desk? No, we are here for 3 days podcasting live from the New Orleans Conference Center, bringing in amazing educators from across the globe. And there was one of my friends who asked me if I knew where I was going, and bringing people in. And I'm just super excited to kick this off
with
with
Michelle
Michele
from
from
Teaching
Teaching
Factor.
Factor.
So,
So,
Michelle, tell us who you are and the work you do.
So my name is Michele Haiken. I'm from the Northeast, and I have been a teacher for more than 20 years in the middle school classroom. I also teach literacy on a college level, and I've published 4 books with ISTE so far.
wow,
Wow,
and you
you
just
just
dropped
dropped
that
that
in.
in.
So,
So,
what books? Talk about your books.
So my first book was called Gamify Learning. And then because I'm an English teacher and I teach literacy, and then I sort of went and focused where more of my strengths are and what I do every day as a middle school English teacher, and wrote personalized learning and then writing for new realms. And I did a jumpstart guide for ISTE about podcasting with students. And my next book to come out is called Creative SEL with my mentor and colleague, Mark Gura. And it focuses on innovative projects that are STEM-based and project-based learning that really support social emotional learning growth.
I like that. And as we get ready to learn for 4 or 5 days here, you talked about personalized learning as one of the books. So, talk about how we could use personalized learning with some of the strategies we learn here at FETC.
Sure, absolutely. I think only because, and I'll nerd out on some Marvel for a moment for my Loki and Doctor Strange fans, but we have this sense of like trajectories that change where the course that we're going and like parallel lives. And I think with the pandemic and COVID, we shifted the whole trajectory of education. I mean, I've been part of ISTE for more than 10 years, and I always love seeing innovative ed tech to support learning. But when we were all immediately thrown into that space with one-on-one remote learning, blended learning, I think it impacted everybody within education as a whole. And it wasn't the teacher at the front of the classroom or on the front of the screen anymore, just talking to teachers. We really needed to rethink how to actively engage our students and also meet their diverse learning needs, which is something that we've always done by differentiating. But how do we blend it all together with technology, with the foundational literacy skills to really help and support all the diverse learners in our classroom so that they can reach excellence?
And so that dove really into the personalized piece, and I think that's critical. And you started to kind of go to the SEL side, which is your new book. So how is some of this technology here in the strategies supporting students in their own social emotional learning?
Social emotional learning is right at the forefront. And for every teacher in every classroom, our students are walking in dealing with so much. And we know based on brain compatible research that we have to address the social emotional before we even get into any academic learning. But teachers don't have to necessarily get a prescribed curriculum per se. Whether you're a content area teacher teaching history or teaching English or science, we can still use creative projects that are going to address and support the different, I'll say, Castle 5 foundations of SEL.
So now that you're here, you've been here since Saturday, and I'm going to just throw your session up for all of you here today. Make sure Monday 1:30 in room 211, 213. Check out the session Hyperdocs for personalized learning. What are individuals who are going to go to that today take away?
So I really want to show teachers and educators how they can use choice boards and hyperdocs and playlists as a way to support their blended learning and give students a choose their own adventure path that's scaffolded to help them learn more deeply based on the content they're learning. So there's going to be a lot of sharing as well as pointers and directions how they can take the lessons that they have now and put them into these hyperdocs and choice boards and playlists and free up some time for them to give personalized support in the classroom for students as they're learning.
So, as you go through the day, what do you want to take away?
Uh, well, I think first and foremost, I just want to see some friends and colleagues that I haven't seen in a while. I just love running into their sessions and learning from them. I've checked off a few favorites that I'm interested in. I know there's one on Canva and one on assessments that I'm interested in learning, and just checking out any titles that catch my attention and interest that I know I can use and bring back and share with my colleagues and with my students.
Oh, very, very critical. So again, hyperdocs for personalized learning. And for those who are here who don't know what that means, hyperdocs, talk about what that is.
So hyperdocs are, I look at it as a way, and it could be a unit based or it could be like a multi-day lesson where you front load the activities with choices and everything is hyperlinked on this particular document. So they can get really fancy. I'm a big proponent of aesthetics, and I love how things look and create it in different ways. But on my blog, I just shared up a post this weekend that lists all different hyperdocs so people could see different styles and templates and they could think about what lessons that they already have and they could sort of customize them for themselves.
And I think as we move forward in this personalized learning, environment, you talk about customization. What would be your real advice to teachers who are like, that's just too much? Like, I have 23 kids. How am I going to customize or make this learning personalized? What would be your suggestion?
Well, if I say you only have 23 kids, you are super lucky.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I have about 125 right now. But I always say start small. I mean, I've gotten to a place, and I've been since before COVID and the pandemic, creating these hyperdocs and playlists and tweaking them. I have them for every single one of the units that I teach. But I say start with one unit that you're working on now or you will be working on. And we all know that great teachers reflect. So if you reflect on those lessons, think about how you could take a lesson that you have now and really adapt it and front load it ahead of time to your students so they're working on it at their own pace and you provide different scaffolds for it and different resources so that they could access it or put in different choices. But yes, baby steps, I get it.
So, speaking of baby steps, it sounds like you're a veteran at some of these larger events. You talked about ISTE, FETC. For those first timers, what would be your advice for this next 4 days?
Soak everything in. Rule number one, say hello to everyone because you never know who they are, what they know, who they are connected to. When you go to the expo hall, don't go crazy and collect all the freebies because then you'll need another suitcase. And if you've ever been to National Council of Teachers of English where the publishers give away the books, you know that you will be trampled on people coming in with jumbo suitcases just to get those books. But yes, there's lots of great free stuff in the expo hall, but you don't have to take everything. But definitely seek out those people in the expo hall who have platforms and ideas that you can use in your classroom. Just side note, I remember going to ISTE probably 7 or 8 years ago, and there's always a startup area of platforms and technology that's like huge, like setups. And I met somebody who had a program called Actively Learn. It was in beta. I looked at it. They gave me a demo. I fell in love with this platform. Granted, it was then then it was then created for a larger audience, and now it's owned by McGraw-Hill, but it is still a platform that I use to this day with my students, and I find that there's so many great things to do.
Awesome.
So,
Go ahead.
yes, number one was be friendly. I do 3, so we'll do 3 more. Always the dilemma is do you go to the session based on the title, or do you go based on the person who's presenting? And that's always the dilemma that my colleagues and I struggle with. And I say, go to anything that grabs your attention. And even if you need to dip into one presentation for half the time because there's a conflicting one, go to the other one for the other half and check out what materials or access the resources that they share, so you could also look through them later on.
Awesome. So you had some cards here, so I'm going to hold them up. Here, this is your next book, correct?
Yes.
So check that out.
It's at the printer now.
It's at the printer. Super exciting. And then here's just some information for you to check out. QR code. For all you fancy tech folks out there, take a screenshot of that QR code, some of the other books. And as you can... All right, I think I was on mute. Like, I'm trying all these different things. So I'm trying to, because we got a band going in the background, and it's live here. So that's what I enjoy. So in case, I think I actually heard myself. So I was probably going through your headphones. So that's pretty good. So you saw the QR code, you saw all these great things.
Or they can just go to my blog at theteachingfactor.com, and they'll see my slide deck and links to all the hyperdocs that I will be sharing in my presentation. If anybody wants to make a copy and adapt them, I'm happy to share.
Okay, that is wonderful. And you're here for a couple days, and then you're heading out early.
Yes.
And then will you be in ISTE as well?
Yes.
All right, so you have a busy schedule. So you go back to work Wednesday. How's that to go from thousands of people back to work?
That's life.
that is life.
I'm still working here. As you know, I've been up since 5:30 trying to put out a fire for a project my students are working on, but it's all good.
Yeah, and I think I was working late too, babysitting a big Aussie to make sure he gets home all right. So I can't be responsible for him here in New Orleans for sure. He's like, I want to find this place. I want to find this place. And I hear one of your families is going on a gator tour.
He is today.
So what does that entail, a gator tour?
They're going through the swamps on one of those airboats for like 4 hours to see some gators. And we're told that the alligators are fed marshmallows because they're white, but they're attracted to the marshmallows. And if they put a marshmallow in the water, then the gator will come up to the boat. I just said, text me when you're done so I know you're alive.
There you go. All the things you're going to learn here at FETC. Some great technology, some work around SEL, personalized learning, and that gators like marshmallows. You can't beat it. So make sure to tune in all day. Check out all the great sessions. And the last question I'm going to ask you is, what does Stronger Together mean to you?
It's about students, it's about teachers, educators working together, seeing that we all have something to offer, and, together we go far type of mantra, that it's all of us together create something awesome.
Well, that is great. And thank you for being brave and being the first person today. We didn't know how this was going to go. We're just like, we're going to podcast live from the show floor and go for it. So thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much for having me today.
And I hope you have a great next couple of days here.
You too. And eat good food.
Absolutely. And for all of you watching or listening, make sure to tune in all day today, all day tomorrow, as we continue to meet amazing presenters here in New Orleans for FETC. Have a great day.
Thank you.